You wanna watch my clips? Watch my clips. Watch my clips. You want me to watch your clips? Watch my clips. These are the only clips I'm watching, you heard?
You absolute buffoon. What you have there is not clips. These are mags.
In the animal kingdom, there is the concept of dominance hierarchy, in which members of a group of animals of the same species create an order of authority. For baboons, authority is developed through the power of their asses. No, not that ass. No, not that ass. This ass. Big red butts command dominance and respect from those of whom nature has not bestowed a well-endowed crimson buttocks. Being low on the totem pole oftentimes means being bullied, getting secondary access to food, and an inability to tap the scarlet behinds of females. Nicki Minaj has nothing on this baboon. For this reason, some male baboons die from stress-related complications or from violent attempts to ignite a rump revolution. Keep in mind that males are not always the dominant sex in the animal kingdom. Female praying mantises are larger than their male counterparts, and will oftentimes eat their partners during lovemaking. I've had some crazy exes, but none of them have tried to eat me during. Speaking of animals, in 2015, a blogger and conspiracy theorist by the name of Mike Cernovich published the book Gorilla Mindset, a guide to being an alpha male who takes control over his own mind and life. Now, don't get me wrong, I like gorillas, they're cool. But I'm not aspiring to have the quote-unquote mindset of an ape living in the jungle without AC. To be fair, the book does include advice that, while pretty blasé, is on occasion beneficial, such as the importance of controlling your own emotions. Granted, I'm not sure what this has to do with gorillas. As far as humans are concerned, masculinity has taken up countless forms throughout human history, some of which we'd consider conventionally masculine, while other forms come across as rather effeminate. Just look at the Sun King of France.
Nigga, you gay!
This guy's outfit looks so fabulous. It makes James Charles look like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
That's the best you got? That stupid tie? That stupid suit? That stupid hair?
The point I'm making is that masculinity is a complex combination of biological imperatives mixed with ever-changing social dynamics based on economics, geography, culture, and a variety of other factors. The Sun King's tights were pretty cool during the 1600s, but probably wouldn't have gotten him laid in the 21st century nightclub. Speaking of the 21st century, we have seen the rise of a feminization of society. This involves a growing emphasis on conventionally stereotypical feminine values like sensitivity over truth, emotion over reason, and safety over adventure. To be clear, these are all stereotypes and generalizations. And all generalizations are bullshit, including this one. A growing male discontent was emerging by the 90s with movies like Fight Club. I would go in depth about this movie, but I can't because...
The first rule of Fight Club is, you do not talk about Fight Club. The second rule of Fight Club is, you do not talk about Fight Club.
The movie came out in 1999, while the internet was still unidirectional, before the rise of social media and the subcultures it would create, and in some cases amplify. This would allow various different people to communicate shared values, interests, and ideas outside of their immediate surroundings. During the 2010s, we would see the rise and fall of fourth wave feminism, forming one of the most outspoken social circles online and in IRL.
Oh, we should film it.
We would see the emergence of language designed to pair masculinity and men in general with negative attributes by feminists in the mainstream cultural discourse. Mansplaining, manspreading, boys clubs, manterruptions, etc. Yes, I have to reiterate manspreading. Even the way men sat down managed to piss off feminists. These terms come off as tiresome today, passé, and associated with the bitter spinsters of the 2010s. But there was a time when they had dominated mainstream gender discourse. One of the most common terms at the time was toxic masculinity, which could refer to anything men do from working out at the gym to not crushing their balls. I'm personally not a fan of gender wars myself, as Henry Kissinger, a man who was quite fond of war, said, "Nobody will ever win the battle of the sexes. There's just too much fraternizing with the enemy." The quote is spot on. Most men care more about their partners than some sort of abstract idea of manhood. The same goes for women, whom, for the most part, care more about their husbands and sons than they do some abstract notion of womankind or feminism.
Be not afraid.
Oh my God!
Behold my glory.
What are you?
I am the clitoris.
But Kissinger made this point in 1988, before everyone had access to the internet, let alone social media. With social media, all sorts of people could broadcast themselves into the retinas and eardrums of millions of people whom they otherwise would have never met, and without the gatekeepers of old media. The aforementioned book by Mike Cernovich was, after all, self-published. I doubt Penguin Publishing would greenlight a book by a guy who claims that PDF files operate a New World Order cabal outside of an arcade/pizzeria. Granted, there were positive manifestations of masculinity that were emerging on the internet as a backlash, such as the Embrace Masculinity song.
Life's too short to exercise. I'm just gonna be honest. There are so many better things to do than exercise.
That men can cry. It's okay to be weak.
Problem is, in this society, male energy, male thinking, male energy is vilified. And you're taught to think there's something wrong with being masculine.
These videos usually started off with horizontally challenged people with excess eyeliner complaining that their diets of Cinnabon and cheese-stuffed pizza crust didn't result in them having conventionally sexually attractive physiques. This was followed by the now legendary character of Ziz. Ziz was an ethnically Kurdish, Russian-born Australian man known literally and figuratively to flex what he called the physique. While many at the time considered him to be a bit of a douche, many young men later on would admire his workout ethic, as he managed to transition himself from a skinny boy into an Adonis for other men to aspire to. And for some reason, he was not interpreted as being homoerotic either. Now, maybe I'm a little bit biased here, being a human and being biased in favor of humans, but I think his physique looks a lot better than a baboon's ass. For all of his vanity, Ziz was not like many of the other figures you'd associate with internet self-proclaimed alpha males. He was apolitical, and he also made it clear that his body was the outcome of hard work, not some divinely bestowed gift from the gods, living on some celestial plane of existence.
It's a fucking act. There is no Ziz. You mind, bro? I'll give you more reason to mind now, bro. It's fucking Ziz, bro. Everyone has a little bit of Ziz in them.
Anybody who worked hard could become Ziz to Ziz. We all have a little bit of Ziz in us. A form of vanity that was counterintuitively quite humble. Unfortunately, Ziz passed away in 2011 at the age of 22 from a heart attack in Pattaya, Thailand. 22-year-olds are usually not prone to cardiac arrest. Was it the sauna he was in that caused this? Or perhaps the steroids, the excess exercise, or a lady boy who slipped something into his drink? We shall never know for sure. Ziz would later become glorified around a decade after his death through the Reject Modernity, Embrace Masculinity meme.
You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward.
This meme gained traction as a growing number of young men were tired of the finger-wagging from progressive and feminist ideologues. This in turn came about during a growing backlash against identity politics of the 2010s overall, particularly the fat acceptance movement.
Fat people are allowed to eat what they want without feeling guilty about it. Get over it.
You know, write it in.
While the embrace masculinity meme was a mostly positive force that came along with hustle culture and stoicism, another form of masculinity would emerge online, which would become less of an intentional meme and more of an unintentional meme. The internet alpha male, or the internet tough guy. The internet tough guy stems all the way back to the early days of social media, usually mocking random people who act really tough behind a keyboard. The lack of physical confrontation allows people to be far more rude, as they don't have to fear being punched in the face. Case in point, the streamer Neon, who is renowned for his lack of a masculine physique. Compare how he acts behind a keyboard and screen to how he acts in person.
The problem I'm having is you can't make any comments on this file.
Shut your old ass up, you f***ing Yo, Kathy, No, Pussy.
These are mine until I get my money.
No, don't do that.
These are mine until I
Don't
get
do
my
that.
money.
Pussy, don't do that. I can't see.
If you listen carefully, you can hear his genitalia retract into his body. This was under the assumption that he even has gonads to begin with.
Oh! That's the hot dog that's going in your asshole and mouth. You keep disrespecting me. What the fuck? But you want a friendly fade or a beating? Whoa! Dude, my fucking Louis shirt! Take your hot dog and put it in your ass. That's where it belongs.
Speaking of Neon, the internet was at first the realm of nerds during the 1990s and early 2000s, as the medium was created by nerds after all. But by the mid to late 2000s, it had become the domain of everyone, including people with excess protein in all of their body parts, except for their brains. So what is an internet tough guy? It has taken me a while to get to the definition. In the simplest of terms, an internet tough guy, or internet alpha male, is a guy who adopts a highly aggressive and threatening persona from the safe vantage point of being online, as information technology has allowed us to communicate with each other across vast distances without the threat of being punched in the face. To my knowledge, there is no ability to punch somebody in the face through a TV or laptop screen. Trust me, I've tried. One largely forgotten example of an internet tough guy who truly personified the archetype, but has been lost to the digital ether, was Tonkasaw. Tonkasaw was an amateur wrestler who portrayed the image of the badass professional wrestler. Tonkasaw was like a WWE wrestler, but for people who are even poorer and dumber. He would claim to be a renowned wrestler online through his channel GrappleVision, even though most of his fights were in rented out warehouses and only watched by other victims of fetal alcohol syndrome and their ethanol-addled families. The phoniness of Tonka's shows would be met with a combination of constructive criticism and trolling. He would respond to both of them by threatening to fight trolls in the ring, only to be trolled even more. Anthropologists oftentimes speak of what is called an honor culture. An honor culture is usually based in nomadic pastoralism, in which shepherds, unprotected by government institutions out in the countryside, are more likely to engage in violence and threats of violence than their urban, settled, quote-unquote civilized counterparts. Now this makes sense if you are a Mongol chieftain during the 1200s or a Scots-Irish settler living in 18th century Appalachia. But being overtly belligerent is not a helpful character trait when you are a skinny white guy whose only experience of fighting involves play wrestling with fat guys in suburban community center gyms. Tonka would bring his internet tough guy attitude from physical fights to quote-unquote intellectual fights. Keep in mind that I'm using the term intellectual very, very, very loosely.
You're the fucking cunt guy, Archimedes. Now get off your fucking face while I nut in your fucking mouth, bitch. Hey, Jaya.
When he wasn't engaging in polemic intellectual saber-rattling, he challenged another controversial internet personality by the name of Andy Worski to a boxing match, only to not show up.
This guy, Tonkasaw, has challenged about 50 people online to fight. It's saying he was a UFC champ, MMA, and I was the first person to be like, all right, I'll do it. And he's tried everything in his power to make this match not happen. And I called the bluff, one after another. And you know what, I want to say that I'm not a fighter, but after training for the past 3 months, almost every single day, I respect the fight game. I respect the fighters. I respect the people who come out of here and even get their ass kicked, because I was willing to come out here and get my ass kicked, Tonka. Where you at? I flew from Canada. He lives in Alabama, one state away. Low T Tonka. Where are you? I spent every day drinking protein shakes and creatine shakes. This guy was busy drinking soy non-stop.
Around this time, a new internet cosmology was being formed. A world in which men were deemed to be alphas or betas, with one dominant man being the alpha male and the others being poor, simply betas. But funny enough, unlike pack animals in which there is usually only one alpha male, in typical circumstances the father of the other animals in the pack, these alpha males traveled in herds. If you don't believe me, just watch this. Even gay guys have tops and bottoms. One of these self-proclaimed alpha males was Matt Forney, whose talents included using his masculinity to bang lots of Filipinas. He has yet to reveal his secret method to getting laid, but I'm assuming it involves paying hookers. When tough guy Matt Forney was challenged in person by a group of gay guys without a screen or keyboard to hide behind, it ended up like this.
For something low impact. Oh, you alright? Are you okay? Are you okay? Let me help you. Let me help you up, baby. Oh, come on. Oh, where are you staying in town? Hey. Tell me what hotel. I can find you there. I can find you there, beautiful motherfucker.
A key trait of the internet alpha male is overcompensation. Men who are actually masculine don't need to tell you that they are masculine. They simply are. I have yet to hear Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson have a mental breakdown over a leaf blower.
Shut! Watch. Where you go? Where you go? Hey! 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 Hey!
Pope Leo, for example, is not just an alpha male, but a mega alpha male, being one of the most powerful people on the planet. Yet, in spite of all of this, he, to my knowledge, has never been in a fistfight, has never gotten into internet feuds, has never staged fake wrestling matches, and probably has never even gotten laid. Another example of an internet alpha male, or males, were Fresh and Fit. Their podcast is mostly composed of bringing on OnlyFans girls and asking them trivia questions right before kicking them out of the studio.
Name 3 countries besides Ukraine.
Africa.
I typically don't expect women who spread their cheeks for a living to be intellectuals. I also don't typically consider it to be alpha when the only physical confrontations you have are with people whose breast implants weigh more than their biceps.
You're not finna try to play me on
Who's playing you, stupid bitch?
No, bitch, you fucking stupid.
Nobody's playing your bitch. Who's that?
Get off me.
Wait a minute. I'm the
While they warn their audience of the evils of women who use their sexuality to suck the money out of you, the co-host Fresh managed to impregnate and fall in love with a gold digger. She demanded that her alpha male, soon-to-be baby daddy, take care of the child, refusing to get an abortion, only to later get an abortion.
You clearly told Fresh inside of that phone call that it's against your religion to terminate this pregnancy. Does that make it murder that you terminated the pregnancy?
No, it doesn't.
Regardless of whatever you think of the abortion debate, the prospect of these two bringing a child into this world lands me in the pro-choice direction. The most famous example of all of these figures was, of course, Andrew Tate. There is very little that can be said about Andrew Tate that hasn't been said before. After an unprofitable career as a chess player and later boxer, he would pursue the art of tricking simps and beta males into giving their money to allegedly trafficked women, who pretended to fall in love with them, not realizing that the person behind the scenes typing the love messages was this bald dude. And you know, this guy is a badass because he has a snake tattoo on one of his, let's just say, male breasts. Here is him explaining the lover boy method, in which he pretends to fall in love with women to win them over and then use them to in turn use lonely men in multiple layers of scams, frauds, and manipulation.
So they come along and they said, oh, you're a human trafficker. I was like, well, I've never transported anyone, I've never kidnapped anyone, I've never restricted anyone, I've never held anyone. They said, no, but you're a human trafficker via the lover boy method. I said, what's that? It's where you pretend to love them. So what, being nice?
To be clear, the claims that he trafficked the woman involved in the scheme are allegations. But under the best case scenario, in which all of these allegations are false and all the admissions of using the loverboy method were made up in order to look tough, then this means that Tate is not so much a criminal, but perhaps the most pathetic internet tough guy. To be fair, at least he has never gotten into a fight with balloons.
Inspire them when you give them a workable path that will change these balloons.
At the beginning of his fame, Tate, like many internet tough guys, would promote a very hedonistic lifestyle, but would soon eventually switch into promoting a very ascetic, pious lifestyle by converting to Islam. He would show respect and admiration to the Ummah by live streaming himself praying. I'm sure Muhammad would be proud. The combination of vice signaling and virtue signaling has been a recurring theme throughout the online careers of internet tough guys. Take Sneeko, for example, a former Take acolyte, went from cuckoldry to Islam.
I've seen her other men, and it's just like that was. Imagine seeing the girl you love like. But I think it's something everybody should do, just to test.
Oh, Black Lives Matters, Me Too movement. Don't say it on your nigga. We don't have this nonsense. We don't have this nonsense. We're all equal. If you're black and you're thinking that, oh, you use the N-word. Yeah, I did not use the N-word. Well, what's wrong with you? No, you're racist. Come on, get a life. We're all the same origin. I didn't choose to be white or yellow.
Speaking of lost souls seeking meaning for their existence, there would also be the rise of pseudo-intellectual alpha males. One example is Eddie Bravo, a renowned Brazilian jiu-jitsu trainer and an unrenowned astronomer.
It looks like something you'd see in a movie.
That's because when they do it in a movie, they try to make it look like this, which is what looks real.
If that's real to you, man.
You don't think it's real?
They faked 6
Eddie,
moon
Eddie, dude,
landings.
stop saying that because it's irrelevant. Why would it be fake?
Propaganda, man.
Eddie sparked the fiery debate with the brazen declaration that photos of around Earth are all fake. Joe, undeterred, then demanded proof of a genuine flat Earth image, igniting a quest for truth amidst the clash of beliefs.
Is there a photo of this flat Earth?
No, I don't. Like I just said again.
That's all I
There's
Is there a
there's
photo
no
of
there's
this?
no photo of.
Someone might want to ask him why transatlantic flights fly over Greenland and Iceland rather than in a straight line, but I guess maps are an Illuminati plot. Another example would be Jake Shields, an inarguably great MMA fighter whose career has probably led to the insides of his skull having the texture and cognitive ability of a plate of hummus. Today, he mostly spends his time complaining about the Jews who stole his nervous tissue. I know for a fact that Hebowitz is harvesting Jake Shields' white matter and selling it off as chopped liver at his deli. If you don't want to acquire your essential amino acids from Jake Shields' brain goo, you can always get them from Alex Jones' supplements.
Look at that. Everybody else is just like yellow or clear. That's because it's been denatured, it's been watered down. We didn't do that. You think I would metaphysically sell you something that is the very best I can get? I'd rather go to hell than do that. I will only give you the maximum best info, the maximum truth, the maximum product, because I want that goodwill.
In the midst of all of this, a 21st century masculinity is needed. One which is cool, calm, collected, and confident. One that exudes strength and charisma without selling sugar pills at an excess markup.
But I am here today to announce DNA Force, ladies and gentlemen. And he'll tell us about that after we cover some news. My dad, who is an oral surgeon and a dentist, but also has been involved in FDA-approved nutraceuticals becoming drugs, worked in the last year with Dr. Group. My dad quit practicing and quit managing 20-plus dental offices and medical facilities because of Obamacare in the last year. And they developed something that the leading competitor isn't even as strong, and it's $600. Because, ladies and gentlemen, one ingredient that's in this costs $12,000 a kilo.
We should really live to 120. I mean, even in the Bible, it talks about people living to 400 to 600 years old.
For all the faults and failings of internet tough guys, all the man-child meltdowns, and all the shilling for pills to help you grow 6 inches, I still kind of like the Embrace Masculinity meme.